Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting. I want to welcome you to the first episode of Spirituality and Me. And this is just going to be a series where I explain my understanding and knowledge, you know, from seeking to understand spirituality and, religion. And this has been a really big interest of mine, and just really understanding, what connects us, like what is life, what is the universe. And I really enjoy this is one of my most, like, personally my favorite topics, just because if you understand spirituality, you understand that in life magic exists. So with that, what I've come to understand, because there's a difference between spirituality and religion. Religion is a man-made construct of how to be spiritual. Spirituality is just the act of using your mind to connect with everything around you, with life, with the universe, with God. And, you know, we really got to understand, and this is something I've been really thinking about lately, is like religion, the stories in the Bible, the stories about Jesus. Jesus was a real person. Moses was a real person. Like, the things that happened in the Bible actually happened. We're finding this out. We know that I think it was the 40-day flood was real, like the Great Flood. Like, they're finding all this evidence for it. And it's not that, the Bible is word for word exactly what happened, but it's like this is first-hand experiences told, secondhand. So we got to understand that throughout life, all we know is what others tell us, you know, like from what, like, well, there's two. So we know from what others tell us, and from our traditions of passing on information and passing on knowledge, but also we understand through experiences. So, like, what is big is small, what is small is big. So to understand this is to understand that the stars in my atoms are the same, are made up of the same material. They work in the same way. So, like, the biggest things in life to the smallest, minutest little thing are inherently the same through a paradox. So, we got to think of life in terms of, these paradoxes of it's not one or the other. So it's not like, the Bible's right or wrong. It's right and wrong. Just like everything's right and wrong. There's no inherent right, there's no inherent wrong. Right and wrong is just our perspectives. So if we understand, religions, unfortunately, for thousands of years, the way we practiced, worship was between each man and his deity, his God. You know, I think up until like the 18 or 1900s, they still practiced like this in India. That's why they have so many different gods. Um, but, you know, the thing is that it went from spirituality of we all share this connection and this belief in, higher powers and being connected to things and our connection to nature, you know because we got to understand that, like, it's only ever in society that we're being disjointed from our connection to the universe. Like, it's only in society where people are trying to tell us that this is what to believe, that is what to believe, this is how to live, this is how to do. And what we got to understand, or at least what I've learned to understand, is that, like, all I need to do is close my eyes and I am connected to everyone who has ever lived. Do you understand? Like, if I am part of life, I am all of life. I'm not disjointed from life. So I'm not a separate entity in life. I am a part of life. I am a part of the whole system. But if we understand this in form of consciousness, okay, what is singular is also collective. So I don't just exist on my own. There is every aspect of the ecosystem of life that needs to exist for me to exist. I'm a part of it, not disjointed from it. But society will always try and tear us away from it and disjoint us to make us feel like we're not a part of everything. And the reason for this is because, you know, if I want you to buy my products, if I want you to follow my beliefs, if I want to control you, so understand, like, consumerism is just a form of behavioral control. You know, all these different aspects of, capitalism, communism, different aspects of society. We're looking to connect together, but when we focus on connecting together, okay, and when we hyper focus, so when we get tunnel vision on, life is just, the city, life is just work, life is just this and that, we get disjointed from our understanding of connection. So, a really important thing to remember is that connection is singular, okay? So, like, only I can connect to the universe for me. I don't need other people to tell me how to do it. All I need to do is ask myself how to do it. So, like, we got to understand that, in the Bible, Jesus, when he, like, I don't know it exactly, but when he realized he was God and he tried to explain it to the disciples, like, what you have to understand, because this is in every religion, it is exactly the same. All religions are the same. That's the funny thing. It's just different ways of expressing our understanding of spirituality and connection. So, like, the thing is when Jesus was trying to explain to the disciples, I am the Son of God, he wasn't, it's in the Bible, he wasn't saying, like, I am the physical Son of God, okay? All life is the sons and daughters of God. The trees are sons and daughters of God. The birds, the dogs, everything. So what we got to understand is what he was truly saying was a realization that I am made from God. I am God. Okay? Like, I am my father through DNA and genetics. Okay? Like, so there's a level of connection, okay, that remains. So I cannot be alive unless I am connected to God. Because God is the universe, God is everything. God is not just one abstract form of identity. Every form of identity is God. Whatever you can imagine, whatever you want to imagine. So, what we got to understand is that in this statement, we got to realize that for me to be alive means I am God. I'm not disjointed from the collective consciousness that is life, that is the universe. That collective energy, that frequency that's all around us at any moment. Because without it, I cease to exist. Because what makes up that collective consciousness, that collective energy, is the air, is the wind, is the solar radiation. It's other people, it's the animals, it's water that I need to sustain my body. Water is a form of energy. Hydrogen engines, hydrogen bomb. Okay? What we have to understand is that, like, I am the water, I am the air. Because as I breathe it, as I drink it, it becomes a part of me, therefore I am a part of it now. So, like, to understand this is to understand that in the Bible, okay, we'll take the Bible because I've never read the Quran. I know a little bit about, Hinduism and stuff. Like, how I identify myself is my religion is the religion of me. Okay? So I am God. So if I want to speak to God, all I need to do is talk to myself. Because if I'm talking to God and I think God is, I see him as the universe or in the sky or in heaven, whatever you want to, contextualize it as, like, if I'm talking to a third party, like, all I know and experience is that I am talking to myself, yet I am receiving messages. So this is something that I practice personally, and that I've noticed a trend that a lot of people do when they realize that, like, when I'm going through personal struggles, when I'm stressed, when I'm upset, when I'm sad, when I'm lonely, all I need to do is close my eyes and start talking. Maybe God is listening. Maybe it's just me talking to myself. I can tell you one thing, but I always get the answers. I always feel supported. I feel it. And that could just be part of my psychological construct, putting me in a different state of mind. But this is what spirituality is understanding how to transgress our compulsive urges to be able to choose what state we want to be in. Because I'll tell you this now, every day of the week, if God is real, if God doesn't exist, it doesn't bother me. Because the thing is I believe it does, like he does. Well, not he, but I believe in God as the universe. When I see God as being the universe, life, my ancestors, all those who have come before me. Every human that's ever lived has been God. Every human that currently lives is God. Every human that hasn't been, born yet is God. Everything is. So the way I contextualize it, through how I pray, is I think, God, the universe, life. Without life, I would have no breath. Without life, my heart would never beat. I thank my ancestors and all ancestors who have come before, for it's their guidance that I seek, for they have gone through true hardship. So for me personally, like, my heritage comes in the form of the Celtic tribes. So or Celtic, one of those two, south of France. Think of it as the Gauls. When you watch ancient Roman movies about ancient Rome, I come from the ancestry of the barbarians, the forest dwellers. So, like, for me, this connection, and this is why, one of the problems with religion is, to the Western world, Catholicism and Christianity destroyed any other belief form. any other heritage, which is bad. We lost connection to our ancestors. You know what I mean? And you see this so much, like here in Australia with First Nation cultures. They, because the Australian government from colonization tried to implement the Catholic and Christian belief of wiping out other beliefs and cultures, right? Like, there is generations now that are lost because they have no connection to their heritage, to their culture. Like, so that's what we got to understand is society seeks to take that away from us because it's hard for them to exist. Because if we believe in, our ancestry, our culture, like spirituality, whatever religion, like Christianity and Catholicism and, Islam and, Hinduism, they're not bad. But the thing we got to realize about them is they're artificial constructs made by men or women, but they're made by people, so we have to treat them as such. Most people who understand the Bible only understand it through the context of their priest or their bishop or the Pope. Like, not many people are willing to read it and interpret it for themselves and ask themselves what is true and what is false. But what we got to understand is the root of religion, okay, is in personal betterment. Even though the people who pursue that fall far short so much. Like, Catholic priests are pretty much all pedophiles. Mormon priests are pretty much all pedophiles. Like, it's corrupt. Man-made structures become corrupt. But what we got to understand is that the inherent thought and belief in making the Bible, the Quran, all the Hindu teachings, the yogic beliefs, the Buddhist beliefs, like, we gotta see the thought and intent that they're trying to get across, because that is how we can personally live our best life. For example, if we get consumed by society in all of the chasing glory, chasing money, chasing success, chasing, you know, like all these easy wins, right? And let's take sex, for example. Like, you know, if you're out, especially for a guy, if you're out there mistreating women, using them, lying, cheating, like, you're only destroying your own psyche. Like, we have to understand that for some of these things in the Bible, especially these beliefs, rules, thoughts, their values, like, they're rooted in what is the best potential for humanity. If there was a culture, what could be the best? How would people act if they truly were their best? And we got to understand is that it was written by men. So it's not it's not true in the sense that it's not complete. It's one perspective, or you know, it's many perspectives on many different things, but it's not the be all end all. So, like, as we've seen throughout human history, you can literally live in any way and live a great life or a terrible life. You can live any life. You could be a garbage man, amazingly happy, or negatively depressed. Like, you could be the president, amazingly happy, negatively depressed. Like, so what we got to understand is everyone has their own inherent karma, and this comes from the Hindu or the yogic belief. And the the misnomer about karma is that karma is a force that comes around and whips everything back into shape. No, your karma is your inherent nature. So, for example, my karma is not to cheat, steal, or take like the easy road. Like I don't ever want to take the cheap way there. Like if I do that, so if I cheat or steal, I'm disgusted in myself. I hate myself. So what we got to understand when we think and conceptualize karma is that karma is your inherent nature. What you inherently, like personally, not attached to anyone else, but what you truly believe as being right and wrong to you. You know, what you think is acceptable, what is unacceptable. So, like, you got to understand, like, when you do things that you don't truly believe in, especially when it comes to behavior where, you're lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating, mistreating people, violently attacking people, you're only destroying your identity of self. You're destroying your psychological construct of who you were, your emotional construct of who you feel like you should be. So we got to understand that, you know, in life, it's not that you have to live any way. What the true meaning of the Bible, the Quran, and all of that is it's just, hey, this is how some people lived. You know what I mean? These are some of the best people in their specific areas, right? They did amazing things, you know, if it's to be believed. But even just the Bible as a notion, like for so many people, has changed their life. For so many people, it gives them hope. Understand this, okay? When you face down the barrel of a loaded gun, preparing to meet your death, no man does not pray. Like anyone that tells you that they won't, they're fucking full of shit. Because inherently we have these like we're constantly connected through our mind and through our like heart, right? So our heart gives off specific frequencies and our mind transfers on frequencies as well. So Joe Dispenza has been doing studies into this, and if you watch his stuff on understanding consciousness, like you really start to pick up the pieces that we are constantly broadcasting like a mobile phone. So when your mobile phone is in cell service, it's pinging out to the nearest tower and the tower's pinging back to it. So that's how it works in life, is we're constantly sending signals out into the energetic frequency that is life, and it's constantly sending back. So there's this tether. And if you look inside and you just ask yourself if it's true, you'll get your answer. Like, that's it. You just ask yourself, like, because you are tethered to life, you are tethered to consciousness. Many people, great people in society, in history, you know, give off praise to their genius as these ideas just come to me. We're tethered to the overall consciousness that is God, that is the universe, that is life, that is everything. So anything you ever want to know, all you have to do is ask and listen. Quiet your feelings, settle your emotions, make peace with the aspects of you that you haven't lived up to your ideals in karma. Forgive yourself. That's the hardest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to do, but it's the hardest thing to admit you need to do. This is what I struggled with for so long, being able to forgive myself. And unfortunately, what I've learned in life is that it's pointless. Like, if I succeed, if I fail, at the end of the day, there's no one there giving me a medal or a ribbon. Like, if I'm happy, if I'm miserable, at the end of my life, no one's going to give me a medal. I am the only one that's going to give me a medal. So I should be the one who determines what I think, feel, and believe, but also I'm the one that holds the keys to the shackles of my mind that limit me. And it's a vulnerability to where you're willing to cry with yourself. That's where you need to get to be willing to receive the answers. Like, you have to tear everything down and break yourself mentally before you can rebuild yourself consciously with conscious thought and intention, not just a mismatch of pieces put together by life, but actually who you want to be and how you want to be. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, if you're in a situation where you don't know how you're going to move forward, the weight of the world is on you, you feel like you're failing, you feel like you're about to succeed to the weights of the world and life and society. Like, you have to feel that so immensely and then just accept it's happened and let go. And just accept that, you know, to succeed, I've already failed. To love, I've already lost. To be happy, I've already been miserable. Like, I don't get to that place without being in those places first. I have to be miserable before I can be happy. And it's not that you have to go through it in the sense that I don't have to live my life miserably in hopes of being happy, but no, but to truly be happy, I have to accept I'm already miserable and actually work towards my happiness. To succeed, I have to accept I've already failed and let go of the fear of failure and just work towards succeeding. And just accept that, hey, I suck, I failed. It's okay. Like, nothing changed. It was all in my head. You know, to love, I have to accept that I've already lost that person, so I don't become overly emotionally attached. And I have to accept that at any moment, you know, that person could leave. And that's okay. Like, I'll never know love if I'm not okay with them leaving. Because I'll always covet and fear that love. So, like, you gotta understand that, like, whatever you believe in life, whoever you believe in, whatever you think, all you have to do is close your eyes, start a dialogue. If you believe you're talking to the universe, talking to life, talking to the collective consciousness, talking to God, you are. If you believe you're talking to your ancestors or anyone who has ever lived, you are. If you believe you're talking to someone who is alive, you are. Through quantum entanglement, you are. Where focus goes, energy flows. Whoever you believe you're talking to in that conversation or that moment, you are. That's it. And it's just a choice if you believe it or not. For me, I'll take the story of Moses. We all think of ourselves as being Moses, following in our ideal of God's will, or, the universe's will, or life's will. We're just doing the best we can, getting by. But like me, many people, we are the slaves. Because if we do not see results, we start to question. If we do not see the food, if we do not see the money, we doubt it. Why? Because we don't truly believe. We don't have true faith. And you got to think, like, for Moses, like in the story, God tells him, go and tell the Pharaoh, let my people go. Now, if he walked up there and he was, cowardly and insecure and doubting, and he was, oh, I don't know, well, he would have spoken like a bitch. He wouldn't have been, persuasive. He wouldn't have been authoritative. They would have just killed him then and there. They would have seen him as pathetic. But he had this inherent belief and faith because he felt a direct conversation with God, or his version of God. So, what we understand is that when we say, I trust and believe that everything will work out for me, I have to walk as if it already has. I have to accept that any fears already are happening to me. They're going to happen. It's okay. But I have to walk with that faith and that trust and that confidence and that certainty. That certainty in, if I do the work, so I take the steps towards, whatever I believe is the life I was meant to have, that is destined for me, okay? I just have to be willing to say, I'm here, I'm walking, and if you see it to kill me along the way, I'm okay. To die for this is what makes me happy. So, like, because this is what gives our life purpose, having life meaning, and we all get to create it. And the easiest way to create it is to close your eyes and have a conversation with however you identify your God, your life, the universe to you. However you want to imagine it, you can imagine your God is a goat, and your God is a goat. Like, it's everything. Anything in existence is God. You can pray to yourself as God and talk to yourself, and you will get the exact same answers as if you pray and talk to a God up in the sky, as if you go to church, as if you're the most pious person. Understand this: in life, you can live whatever life you want. You just have to live right by you and by your, ideal values. Because the thing is, we can all be aggressive, angry, violent. We can all be miserable. We can all hate ourselves. Or we can all be happy. We can live our ideal. We can recreate ourselves whenever we want to, because no one sets the tone on who I am or who you are. You get to decide. And it doesn't matter what other people say. What do you say? What do you believe? Because if you understand what you believe, and you truly believe it, you get the power of it. So if you believe, when you close your eyes like I do, that you can talk to anyone, you get the power of that conversation. You can find out whatever you want. Because for me personally, if I close my eyes and talk to my ancestors, or talk to, you know, all the dead soldiers, all the diggers that gave their lives in every war, to ensure that I'm able to live free. Like, I feel powerful after that. I have power. So you got to understand, and this could be me shifting emotional states. This could be, you know, validation of connection. This could be them embodying me. Who knows? The point isn't to know. I don't need to understand exactly how each muscle moves my lungs to be able to breathe. If I did, I would be constantly thinking about breathing. That's the beauty about God, the universe, life, and everything. We don't have to understand anything to be able to utilize it. So you will get the same results as me as if you believe as me, you know. But for me personally, belief is hard because self-doubt comes in because I don't feel confident. So I had a conversation and I asked God, the universe, life, my ancestors, how did Moses do it? How did Jesus do it? How did, David do it? Like, take David and Goliath, you know? Who knows the validity of it? It could have been a 7'4" dude, a beast and mountain of a man that he took down with that sling. Or it could have been a 6'4" dude. Or it could be a giant as in the Bible. Who knows? But the thing is you got to understand David had a conversation with God and asked God for the strength to smite Goliath and walked out there and challenged him. How? How could you walk into certain death with your spine up straight, with your chest out, certain that you are divinely guided, that your hand, that the rock you sling will smack this foe and take him down? Like, how? And what I realized is it's a combination of belief and faith and letting go. He had a conversation with God. He got the answers he needed. He believed him. He had faith that his belief would hold true. And he let go to all fear, all doubt, all hesitation, and walked out there and smote Goliath. So to understand this is just a man like me, like you, like anyone. So we see the power of belief, faith, and letting go to any self-doubt. The only way he could walk out there as if he's going to be victorious is if he accepts he's already dead. Should he fail, his life is gone. And that's okay. Like, that's the key. Do you get it? Like Moses went, told the Pharaoh to free the slaves. The Pharaoh didn't. God unleashed the horrors on the Egyptians. Then Moses got the people and led them into the desert. No food, no water, no shelter, no map, no navigation tools, and just led them in there. Why? Why were they able to do that? And that's because they had no other choice. David had no other choice. He could live under Goliath's tyranny and accept a miserable life, or he could fight for his freedom. Moses. Moses didn't have a choice. His only choice was to walk away. But how can you walk away when God speaks to you? When you feel it, when you believe it to be true. So the thing is they didn't have another choice. It's only forward, it's only trust. And that's one of the keys to life is in anything you do, and what I realize is in anything I do, I have to believe, have faith that it's going to work. I have to trust that just moving forward is good enough. And if I keep moving forward, the path will be illuminated. Like what I need will come. And I have to accept if it doesn't, it's just not meant to come yet. And I've got to let go to any fear of, of loss, of death, of failure, of I've got to accept that once I take the first step, like in for a penny, in for a pound, there's no going back. You know, once I take that first step down that road, like it's success or death, it's achievement or nothing. Like I'm going to keep going until achievement comes, regardless, with belief and faith. Even if I have to go through the most miserable tests, the most miserable times, I'm still going to believe and have faith because I know the conversation was true. I heard the words. And anyone can do this. All you have to do is listen. You have to understand that what connects us on the quantum realm, our consciousness, okay, what creates our consciousness is quantum microtubular. So you've got to understand that our consciousness is rooted in our subconscious, not our conscious mind, in our subconscious mind. That's where it is created. So any conversation we have won't have words. We have to do the talking and be led by the guided speech, and then listen for the emotions, listen for the feelings, listen for the intuition, the instincts, because that's how the universe or God talks to us, is through our subconscious mind, which is controlled by our emotions, you know, our subconscious behaviors and things like that. So mostly you'll feel it through emotional shifts. And hey, if all you feel is an emotional shift and God isn't real, that's okay. You've just shifted your emotions. Job done. You're in the emotional state you want. You have control of your mind. Do you see? It doesn't matter if it's real or not. It doesn't have to be. If you believe it to be real, it's real for you. If you don't believe it to be real, it's not real for you. Like, it doesn't mean that if you don't believe it's real, that someone else who believes it's real, like, it's not real for them. Like, what we got to understand is in life, this understanding and concept of reality is individually made up. We all make our own understanding of reality, be it from the colors we see, because we all don't see the exact same color of grass if we look at it. Because how could I ever describe the color that I see? Do you sort of understand? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because how do I know it varies from what you're saying? I can't conceptualize it. I can't conceptualize anything outside of my own body and experience and mind. And that's the key, is we have to accept that everyone is right and everyone is wrong. It doesn't matter. It's not the point. There's no right or wrong. There's no gold medals at the end. There's no validation. The only validation comes from you. So why not choose to give yourself the gold medal straight away and allow yourself to be and do and feel whatever you want to feel, live whatever life you want to live. That's the key to spiritual enlightenment, is that realization that, yes, you are in control. This life, you're in control of it. So anything bad happening in your life is you doing it to yourself. If you're depressed, you're making yourself depressed. If you're miserable, you're making yourself miserable. If you're lonely, you're making yourself lonely. Because we don't feel outside of ourselves. Does it make sense? Do you get it? So, like, if I'm in love, it's not that I feel love from an external force, it's that my mind and psychological construct is created a scenario to where I put myself into a certain state, but it happens subconsciously. So, like, if I want to be in love or feel in love, all I must do is close my eyes and experience it. And I am experiencing it as if I had another. Do you understand? Does it make sense? This is sort of the start to understanding spirituality and really connecting with everything around, is that there's no external validation for it. You don't have to prove that you speak to God. You can have a conversation. It doesn't matter what other people say. If you feel better, if you feel happier, if you feel more joyous, if you feel less stressed, like, understand this. When I talk to my God, the universe, life, my ancestors, my stress goes away. Why? Because I have a conversation with myself where I work through it and I let go of everything I can and I ask for help, and I accept myself and I accept that my fears have already come true and it's okay, I'm still here. Like, most of letting go of fear is just accepting that you're already living your fear and you're getting by. It's okay. Your life hasn't ended just because you're afraid or just because you're living your fear of this perceived loss, this perceived failure. So, like, if I fear death, like, every day I am living my nightmare because I'm in fear. Like, I'm living my life in fear. So, like, how could I ever be happy in life when I'm constantly berated by fear of what's going to happen? So, to liberate, we have to accept that fear of death. I'm already in it. I'm afraid to live. I'm afraid to be me, to experience, to, do. So I'm already living my nightmare as if I was in hell. So, like, once we accept that, then we realize it's not that bad. We're getting through it. Now we can start to rebuild it up so that we can make heaven on earth. Like, why not live each day as if it's the greatest day of your life? Why not live in an environment where you feel 100% there, where it's your space, your environment? Like, why feel insecure about your body when it's okay? Like, if I'm insecure of my body, I'm afraid that people are going to make fun of me for my body. It's okay. I just accept that. I have to accept they already do, and it's okay. I'm here. I'm alive. Like, nothing bad has happened. I have to let go of that. And now, if I want to get in, like, let's say, get into better shape or, anything like that, I can start working towards it without that negative fear, without that self doubt. See, that's the key. is we have to have these conversations with ourselves and God. Like, who knows if God's there? I know I'm here. Do you get it? Like, I'm benefiting from the conversation as if I'm talking to God. Even if I'm just talking to myself, I'm still benefiting. So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't have to be true. Like, that's the point of life, is that in the universe, is that it doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be this or that. Like, there's no good or bad in life. There just is. And then I get to choose what I like and what I don't like. And the things I don't like, I'm not going to do them and be a part of them. The things I like, I'll be a part of them. So it's sort of like, that's the liberation, is when we let go and we realize that it's okay, like life just is. Now I'm going to consciously choose, what do I want my life to consist of? What do I want to be in my environment, in my life? So, you know, it's just one of those things that, like, so many people lead us to believe that that's wrong to do. Like, you know, that it's something to be looked down on. When in fact, whatever you believe, okay, like, as being true, as being real, like, you get the power of it. So if you believe you are smart, you are smart. If you believe you're stupid, you are stupid. Because if you think or believe you're stupid, you will limit yourself. That's how the mind works. So your mind will limit its functionality if you think you are stupid. Do you know how I know this? Because all my childhood at school, I got told every day how stupid I was. And I felt stupid and I thought I was stupid until I started just learning stuff on my own. And then I realized I wasn't stupid. Do you get it? Like, if people constantly tell you you're stupid and you truly believe it, you'll start limiting yourself. Yeah, they told me in school that I would be nothing but a janitor. Even though, like, that would be a pretty chill job, apart from, like, I worked in bars and cunts are weird around shitters. Like, people, they do some rough stuff. But whatever. But you know, like, that wouldn't bother me if I was a janitor. Like, it's okay if I'm gonna be just a janitor. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, and that's the thing, is for so long in my life, I let other people's beliefs in when they said negative things to me and tore me down, and I let that limit me to the point where I couldn't see all that was. I couldn't see the potential. And so many people in life are like that, where people tell them they're poor, so they never invest into learning on how to better their situation. Like, people tell them they're stupid, so they limit themselves, so they never go for what they want. People tell them they're fat, they're lazy. Like, if you make someone believe that they're fat, the only thing you're gonna do is make them believe that there's no point to even bothering. Because, like, you know, that's their identity now, because you're just identifying them as that. So it's pretty important to always remember not to identify other people in the context of, you don't want to tell someone who they are, because you don't understand outside of you. Most barely understand who I am in terms of who they are. Like, that's the thing. But I'm guilty of it, because, it's easy to do that stuff. It's just habitual, you know? The more we tear people down, the easier it is. So, that's just one thing, is that you really got to understand, what are my personal beliefs and what are the beliefs other people have put on me, especially in terms of spirituality and especially in terms of religion. Like, for example, if you want to be Catholic or Christian, you don't have to go to church every day. Anyone that tells you you have to go to church every day or else you're going to hell, they're full of shit. Like, you don't have to. Like, God's everywhere. You can worship wherever. To all those, Islamic extremists that believe that they're going to get 40 virgins in heaven if they kill themselves by, killing other people. You're just going to torment your soul. You're going to torment your consciousness because you're killing other people out of hatred who hold no animosity towards you. Like, that's not fighting. That's not, you know, honorable. Like, you're killing others out of fear. Fear that you will be suppressed. Like, fear that you won't get control. So, like, what we got to understand is, like, there are a lot of, not manipulative, but like a lot of misleading aspects to how people portray religion. You know, they, a lot of people want you to feel boxed in and confined to the way that they want you to practice so that they can control. And that's not a good thing. So understand that spirituality is what religion tries to be, but spirituality is individual. It's up to you to decide what is spiritual to you, how do you express yourself spiritually, and it's only for you because it's inside of you. It's not external to you. In the context of, like, other people don't have to believe what you believe for it to be true. But that with religion, everyone has to believe what you believe for it to be true. There can only be one, except all are the same. There is only one religion. Do you get it? All the religions are exactly the same. Read them. They just got different beliefs, like different perspectives. They're just different stories, but it's the one narrative. Like, that's the funniest thing. Like, jihad cannot be. Do you get it? Because they all believe in the same dude. Who's that? The one that created everything. The one I believe in. Do you get it? Like, there's no difference. Yet, for thousands of years, we've allowed the religious systems to control the people and the population and the armies to go to war. And prejudice has reigned supreme. And we're about to do it soon based on, economic beliefs. Communist, capitalist. Because that's what this war with China and Russia will be about. It's all just about economic power. Hence why Russia's invading Ukraine, so they can increase their economic power and their influence. Hence why they want to invade each of the other NATO countries, so that they can increase their economic influence, like, so that they can control the economies and dictate it, because there can only be one. Like, that's literally how we think, or how we're misled to believe, is that there can only be one. When in fact, like, China doesn't really need to invade Taiwan. Like, nothing's really gonna happen to China if they don't invade Taiwan, right? Like, Russia didn't need to invade Ukraine. Nothing was really gonna happen to them. Like, because the thing is, like, the ones that are trying to promote the wars, Well, they need someone to respond. So, like, if America's promoting a war, well, if Russia didn't respond to the provoking, what would happen? Like, is NATO going to go on an all-out attack at Russia if Russia's not attacking first? The same with China. If China doesn't attack Taiwan, like, the West isn't going to attack China. Why? Because the people would revolt. Like, there's no need to attack them. Why send our people to die, or us, because I'll probably get drafted, but why send us to die when there's no point? Like, do you see? But the problem is that, like, we get caught into this. So it's sort of like, you know, if someone tries to provoke a fight out of you, if you don't respond, typically nothing happens. Unless you're weaker and they're predatory, then they'll try and prey on you. So, like, you know, that's the thing, is like our political system, our economic system, our religious system, they're all constructs of propaganda and manipulation and control. That's the problem. And they try and control the population and control the world events and do this and do that, when in fact there's nothing really to control. People should be just living individually, doing their own thing, enjoying their life, you know, working in society, you know, interacting with others, like connecting, being happy, whatever they want. Like, it doesn't have to be like this or that. And that's one of the things, is that, like, a lot of people are waking up to is, you know, these societal constructs that we've created in terms of government, you know, laws and all of this. They need overhauling because they've become over bureaucratized, and they're now too constraining and controlling. Like, you know what I mean? And the problem with that is, when that happens, then we go down the path of, then we start to get more controlling, and then it'll get to the point where, you know, we won't be able to practice what we want to practice for our life. Like, we won't be able to live, because you'll only be able to live in this certain box. And that's not a good way. Like, thousands of years ago, you could just travel wherever you wanted to go. You could get up and walk. And nowadays, we need passports, you know what I mean? And we need visas and this and that. And the problem is that, like, we cannot experience the earth. We can only experience the towns, the cities, the national parks, the ocean. Like, we're not free to just experience or go anywhere in life. We're only allowed to go to the certain squares that are admissible, which is quite strange, because it seems like each year they're getting tighter and tighter, to the point where, you know, in India they talk about creating these cities where no one has to leave a 15-kilometer radius, and you can't drive your car during the week, and you can only drive your car Saturday, Sunday. Or you can only leave that 15-kilometer area Saturday, Sunday, to try and, you know, because they're so densely populated, to try and curb, you know, pollution and things like that. But it's like, how would that be? If 5 days a week you weren't able to go further than 15 k's. So if you wanted to go to the beach that day, no. If you wanted to go, to shopping somewhere else, nope. If you wanted to go sit, nope. And that's crazy to think like that. That's how our governments think. And that's the scary thing. Is there's only one. Capitalist, communist, it's all the same. It's all just about projecting power and control. Like, it's sort of like if I'm the banker in Monopoly, yet I'm playing, and I allow you to come play Monopoly with me, and I control what you can and can't buy, I control how much you get, I can tax your rents that you get, and I'm playing with you. Like, do you get it? That's how our governments are set up. They're playing this whole life and society with us, but they're stacking the deck to their favour. For power, control, money, fame, recognition, a number of different things. But it's that analogy. If you wanted to buy a property, if the government didn't want you to buy it, they could say no. They could stop you. They could use police. They could plant evidence and get you arrested if they wanted. Like, that's the thing. It all sounds like fairy tale or, like make believe, but it has happened throughout history. People have done that. And that's crazy. Alright, well, that's going to end this one, but you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.